Hello and welcome to Color Multimedia Enterprises. My name is Luke, also known as Tianery, and I am going to be starting some tutorials for StoryDev 2 because it is now in a stable state and in a state that is currently mostly working. So I'm going to go through getting started with StoryDev 2 and how you can use it. So if you haven't already, then you probably want to install Hakes if you don't already have it. Hakes is the language that this project uses. So if you go over to hakes.org, which is the official website, you click on download. You download for your operating system and install it. Go through the instructions as required. And once you've done that, if you haven't already, there's of course this application. Now it's currently not on Hakeslib. I will be uploading it later today, but before then what you'll need to do is use Hakeslib. So what I'll do is open up command prompt and show you exactly how you use that. So what you'll do is if you type in Hakes, just make sure that it's installed and working correctly. I'm using the compiler version 3.2.1 for now, not the latest one, but it really doesn't matter what version you use. If you type in hakeslib get sd2 followed by the URL here, just copy and paste that in, then press enter, it will install and clone into that folder. Now it really doesn't matter what version I use because I've got a dev repository anyway, but nevertheless I'll just double check to make sure that it is in fact pointing to it. No. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so StoryDev 2, what is it? It is a interactive story engine, or rather an interactive story engine, and it is designed to basically make it easier for you to create interactive stories. Now what I'm going to do is show you what it does, what it involves, and how you can create your very first interactive story with StoryDev 2. So I am going to go over to the desktop and into a folder called Color ID. And then what I'm going to do is type in hakeslib run sd2 create, followed by the name of the folder and also the game title as well, followed by JS, which is the template that I want to use. There's only one template in this at the moment, and that is the JavaScript template. I'll press enter. It's going to copy the template files. Now if I now go into that folder and show you what it's copied, this is the folder structure as it currently looks. So we've got assets, and in here we've got our conversations, we've got our src, which is the Hakes file that we will be using a bit later when we build the project. We've got our index.html. No, there is no bin folder. I know it looks a bit silly, but nevertheless it doesn't really matter. If we double click on this, in fact what I'm going to do is open with Google Chrome because that makes a bit more sense. Nothing appears. You're probably wondering why. The reason why is because we haven't built the project yet. So what we need to do is go back into our command prompt. We need to type in hakeslib run sd2 build, press enter, then it's going to start building. And then when we go back into our folder, we've got another folder. Well, we've got two files here. We've got build.hxml, so that's what's generated if we open that in Notepad++, what you'll see is it's grabbed all of the resources within that folder, and it's going to get a variety of different libraries and generate this HXML and make sure that everything's there. Now, one thing you will notice is that it's also generated this line, -lib hscript. Hscript is one of the libraries that this library, StoryDev 2, depends on. So if you don't have it, it's not going to build. This will come up with an error message if you try to build it. So what you'll need to do is type hxlib install hscript just to make sure that you have it installed and or updated to the latest version. Once you've done that, you can then double click or open with Google Chrome and it will work. So this is welcome to your very first interactive story. I'm going to go through the JSON file and it won't take long because it's not much. That's not what I'm looking for. I've got too many things going on at the same time. Tutorial, here we are. Right, so if I open this with Notepad++ and show you what it looks like. So we've got 4 different properties here. The first one is source. So this is where all of our Hakes source files are. We can add things to it, we can modify it, we can basically change things around and add interfaces, in particular to index.html. So we can expand what we already have here and create our own game specific features with it. And that's one of the great things about StoryDev 2, because it doesn't restrict you on what you can create. You can still use this file and add additional features to it, like say for example you want to add a role-playing game, so you might add characters and roles or classes, you might add spells, you might add all manner of different things and build a massive game on top of StoryDev 2. Or alternatively, you can migrate StoryDev 2 into an existing game if you so desire. I'll be providing tutorials on how you can create your own templates so that you can integrate StoryDev 2 into your own game, but that is beyond the scope of this tutorial for the time being, so I'm going to just stick with this for now. Output, so that is the output file that we want. Now because it is the JavaScript target, we just want a single JavaScript file here, and that is sd2.js. We've got our target, which of course is JS, and our convos. That now requires a folder, and no longer, it used to require an array of files, but now we can just pass in a path and it will take a look into that folder and get all of the conversations within that folder and put it into and embed it into the application. One thing to note, because of the way that it generates the build.hxml, if we go back into here again, what you'll notice is with the -resource tag, Hakes needs everything on the right side of the @ symbol, which is this bit here, to be unique resource names. If they're not unique resource names, it just won't work. It won't build. It'll start complaining at you. Now the way that it generates that is it gets the file name without the extension and without the path before it, and puts it as the name for the resource. So one thing to note is always make sure that all of the conversations that you ever create, all of the files that you create, all have unique names. It doesn't matter where it is, regardless of what folder it's in, they all have to be unique names for that reason. Otherwise it will not build, and you might end up with name discrepancies. Okay. So now that we've got that bit out of the way, we can now move on to actually going over the syntax and what it is. Now I'm going to stop here and show you a bit of the syntax in the next tutorial. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.